All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Hockenheim. Avery Walker and Adam Barker on the front row. Nick Sorensen, David Garman on the second row. Zach Bache, Robert Joe on the third row. Mike Marshall and Roman Berg round out the field. Big shout out to Zach for the heads up. As we mentioned earlier, there are two Fords in the field, so could be catastrophic for everybody around them. Everybody getting stacked up. Some of the drivers making last-minute adjustments before they hop in. We will be keeping a close eye on that front row. Avery Walker, Adam Barker, separated by just 3 points with just one more week to go. Plus the battle for third, fourth, and fifth between Nick Sorensen, Wessel Stevens, and Mike Marshall. Extremely close. Wessel is not here. Could be catastrophic for Wessel this morning as he has already used both of his drop races. Mike Marshall likely to advance in the points today. All the drivers are rolling. Everybody looking fast this morning, except for Mike Marshall and David Garman, both in Fords. As they come through the final turns, this is one of the more exciting and fun parts of this track to drive. As I mentioned, this track is a favorite. And this sector of the track is extremely fun and likely to give us a lot of action today as well. Turn one here is a bit tricky. Will we see any excitement? Let's find out. Pace car is in out of the final turn. Avery fires their away. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away at Hockenheim. The top two get a little bit of a breakaway. Everybody makes it through turn one perfectly fine. Top two trying to pull away here in the early going. Sorensen back in third. Garman in fourth. Zach Bache in fifth. Robert Joe in sixth. Mike Marshall in seventh. Roman Berg back in eighth. The Porsches will have that advantage, the handling advantage through the tighter sections, but they do have a little bit of a deficiency when it comes to straight line speed. Will that be a big impact here today? Avery leads them in. Oh, everybody going a bit wide coming in there. Zach really getting off in the dirt. And coming out of the final turn, it looks like Avery will lead lap 1. Adam starting to lose some ground in second. Sorensen, despite keeping his foot down, lost some ground in third. From fourth on back, though, it is still a fight. Zach right on the back bumper of David Garman. Robert Joe right behind. Mike Marshall just a little bit further back. Roman Berg surprisingly losing a little ground here early. Keep an eye on him. He is likely to make a comeback. Sorensen in third is trying to close the gap on the top two. But David Gorman and crew, they are closing in little by little. And don't forget, folks, it is a doubleheader. Two races this morning. And the top 7 will invert going into race 2. Whoever is sitting in 7th at the end of race 1 will be on the pole for race 2. Right now, that is Mike Marshall. And even more surprising, especially considering how close the lap times were in practice, is this field is starting to spread out. Avery just set the fastest lap so far, 138.21. Roman Berg has had a problem back behind. It's like came out of the first turn, heads down in and just a little too deep. Overshoots it, but does recover without being impacted. Avery continues to lead as 9/10 of a second on Barker. Sorensen back in third, about 1.7 seconds back. David Garman still holds on to fourth and has started to open up a gap on Zach Bache in fifth. Robert Joe right on Zach's back bumper in sixth, and we know that McLaren has a lot more straight line speed than the Porsche does. Can he take advantage on the long straights here? Mike Marshall in seventh, about 2.3 seconds back. These two get side by side. He'll close quickly. Here he comes. Robert Joe shoots it down into the turn. Went a little bit wide, but he takes fifth place for the moment. That was a gutsy move. He drove it way down into the turn, and fortunately, it was able to stick. That Porsche of Zach Bache still right on the bumper and looking for his opportunity. Avery still out front. Barker about 9/10 back. Still no gain, no loss. Sorensen back in third, about 1.8 seconds back. A fairly stable gap so far. Garman back in fourth, is losing ground to the top three. And problems back behind. Zach Bache has just reclaimed 5th. Nick Sorensen has had a problem. Avery Walker as well. There's Sorensen coming through. And the back end just steps out in a really big way. Goes over to the drag strip. Does get it saved. Avery Walker, who was leading, he just goes really wide. And off into the dirt, but holds on to her. Some very close battles right now. Zach has reclaimed 4th. Mike Marshall now up into 6th and is closing in on Robert Joe. Sorensen lost all that ground. He is trying to reel him back in. David Gorman now up into 3rd. He is still losing ground to the top 2, but he is pulling away from 4th place Zach Bache. Robert Joe still right there with Zach. This is definitely an interesting battle because we know the Porsche does handle better, especially on tight corners. But that McLaren does have a straight line speed advantage, and this track has a mix of both straight lines and sharp turns. Mike Marshall about 1.5 seconds back. He has been gaining a little ground on the battle ahead. Sorensen trying to fight his way back. Remember, he was in 3rd when he went for a little bit of a ride. Trying to fight his way back up. And Robert Joe has reclaimed 4th from Zach, but this ain't over yet. Zach made a look to the inside, thought better of it. But he is still attacking. Both drivers just barely avoiding the dirt. Boy, when they invert this top 7 for race 2, things are gonna get good. Their lap times throughout most of the field, lap times are actually very close between the top 2. David Gorman, Robert Joe, and Zach Bache all have very similar lap times as well. Mike Marshall not very far off pace, and Sorensen attacking. That invert does mean it's gonna be non-stop battling for the first part of race 2. Adam Barker took a very interesting line into the hairpin. Looked like he did an early apex and a very unusual move. David Gorman back in 3rd. Now has to worry. Robert Joe is closing in, and Robert is pulled away from Zach Bache by almost a second. Mike Marshall back in 6th, continues to hold Sorensen off. Now Avery, who leads the race, has a 3-point lead over Adam Barker in 2nd right now, and every point counts here today. Every point is going to make a big difference. Robert Joe 1 1/4 seconds back from Gourmets, and closing. Zach Bache was starting to close back up on Robert Joe. Last time by, he was the faster of the two. Could see a 3-car battle for 3rd before long. Sorensen still haunting. Whoa, that got close. Sorensen still haunting the back bumper of Mike Marshall. And Roman Berg, after that early off track, he is actually starting to gain a little ground. They are definitely pushing the track limits here. A lot of dust flying. Robert Joe continues to get closer and closer to Adam Barker. Zach Bache continuing to keep Robert Joe right within striking distance. David Gorman has had a rough season. If he can hold on for 3rd, it'd be his first podium of the season. Robert Joe's not going to let it happen. But Gorman cuts back to the inside. Gorman has the advantage on the straight. Gorman holds on to 3rd for the moment. Robert Joe looking for an attack. 5.5 minutes left to go, and things really starting to heat up. Zach Bache right behind continues to reel the two of them in. We mentioned that McLaren has a lot more straight line speed than the Porsche. However, it does not have the same straight line speed as the Mustang or the Corvette. Mike Marshall still holding on to 6, has held Sorensen in 7th off so far. Roman Berg in 8th, was closing in on that battle, but has lost some ground. Into the hairpin, Robert Joe tries to cut down. Does not have the run, but now Zach is right with him. Zach now back in the fight for 3rd place. Garmin, for the moment, still holds him off. Robert Joe, though, trying to set up once again. Oh, Gourmet a little bit wide. Adam Barker still in second, and Avery Walker continues to lead. But the battle for third is just about the closest battle on track. Mike Marshall about 3.5 seconds back with Sorensen right on his bumper. These three start battling. Mike and Nick will be in the fight very quickly as we head toward the hairpin. We've seen Robert Joe make the move through here before. Will he do it this time? Nope. He does. He cuts low. He's down to the inside. Could not get enough of a run. Zach Beisch almost got a run on him. Now it's a three-car battle for third place. Robert Joe cuts the inside. Wow. Robert really sending it that time. And Zach manages to go through the open door to take fourth. And everybody goes off in the dirt. Everybody swinging a bit wide here. It's going to be a close fight to the finish here, folks. Avery Walker still in the lead, has now opened up a 1.7 second lead on Adam Barker, but the fight is back in third. Robert Joe still holding on to third. Zach right on his bumper. Garmin lurking just behind. Sorensen has gotten past Mike Marshall. And he is gaining on this three-car battle. Zach to the inside into the hairpin. And he makes it work. That Porsche's handling advantage coming into play. Zach Beisch now into third is, wow, Avery a little bit wide. Avery coming through the final turn onto the front stretch. Should see the white flag this time. Zach still holding on to third as that three-car battle comes out of the final turn. One more time around, who can pull off third here? Definitely going to be a close battle to the finish, and it might get worse. Sorensen now just 1.1 seconds back and gaining. And McLaren will have the advantage as they head toward the hairpin, but as we've seen, the Porsche is faster through the hairpin. Zach holds on to third. Looked like Robert was going to make a move. Garmin tries to make a move. Garmin now to fourth. Robert Joe goes wide. Sorensen takes fifth. Robert Joe ended up off track. And through the final two turns, the new points leader extends that lead. Avery Walker wins race 1 at Hockenheim. And Zach Bache will hold on to third, his first podium of the season. We have a few minutes before race 2. Let's see if we can talk to our top 3 from race 1. Starting with third place, Zach Bache. Zach, man, you definitely made them work for everything today, but you came home your first podium of the season.
Oh, man, you have no idea how freaking shaken I am right now, man. Robert, Garmin, all three of us, man, we had a hell of a battle for third, man. Just to be able to get third with these guys, I mean, these are a good competitive group of guys that I've raced with in a long time for any league I've ever ran in, and be able to get third is pretty good accomplishment. I don't know how I'm gonna do in the feature, but hopefully we can try to get another podium. That'd be pretty awesome.
I definitely would, man. Great to see you back in the fight. Congrats.
Thanks, Doug, and appreciate you broadcasting, man.
Adam Barker comes home in second. Adam, man, it seemed like you and Avery just took off, but not a lot of action up there, just turning laps.
Yeah, it was really difficult there. Avery was on it every lap, so trying to capitalize on any small little incident, but it was just nothing I could do there. He was just so quick off the corners, so trying to keep it within a second for the entire race, see if he could do something wrong, but he was right on the limit all the time, and I had no answer for getting round him, but it was a really good first race. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the second heat here. The tires are definitely going to be screaming by the time we get to the pits. So
you're definitely going to be taking tires here today, man. That was quite a run. Congratulations. The points situation, you have to be watching that. He just put a little bit more of a gap on you.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of distance here, so we can see what happens. I'm going to start ahead of him in the second race. So if I can keep ahead of him in the second race, make it hard for him to pass, then we might be able to even the points up again.
Well, you have 7 trophies for championships so far. Good luck on number 8.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Adam Barker, 7-time champ, comes home second, and our winner, Avery Walker. Avery, that was a pretty dominant performance, my friend.
Yeah, that was a good race. Obviously, very happy with that. I don't know about dominant because Adam was right on me the whole time. But yeah, very happy with that. A little worried about the next race though, and trying to get past him.
It's definitely going to be interesting seeing you come from 7th to get back up to the front, but you have to think you added some points here. Your number 1 goal is just to keep Adam behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Bathurst last week, I think, is a good example where I won the first race but finished 3rd behind Adam in the second, and that was because the second race is worth more. We tied on points. So trying to avoid that, trying to actually get some points on him in this race, it's going to be really tough to get past.
Well, you have to think he already has 7 championships. It's about time for somebody else.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to give him my best.
Well, man, good race. Good luck coming back through traffic.
Yeah, thank you.
So Avery Walker will start race 2 in 7th. It's definitely going to be a fight to the end. Don't forget, they will have to make pit stops. They have to take fuel, and from the sounds of it, they will be taking tires this morning as well. So just a few seconds to go. We are headed into race 2. And with that invert, things are going to get very, very tight out here. Neither Avery nor Adam can lock up the championship today, so next week we will be in a championship battle all race long. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race 2, top 7 have been inverted. Roman Berg and Mike Marshall in the front row. Nick Sorensen and David Garman have the second row. Zach Bache and Adam Barker on the third row. Avery Walker and Robert Joe round out the field. Hey, good morning, Rising Phoenix. Thank you for the raid. And how is everybody doing this morning? Hope all y'all coming in from the raid are having a great morning and ready to watch what promises to be quite a battle. All the drivers on the grid, they begin to roll. Saw a lot of action down in the hairpin during that first race. Definitely going to be interesting to see with this invert with a Porsche and a Ford out front. How will that change the complexion of the race? Will we see early chaos? Turn 1 at Hockenheim is definitely known for causing a lot of excitement. Here they come into that final sector. Still some tire tracks in the dirt from the previous race, and a lot of drivers going off. Roman Berg in control of the start once the pace car is in. Here we go. Pace car dives to pit road. Roman Berg in control. He fires out of the final turn. Green flag flies once again at Hockenheim. Everybody makes it through turn 1 clean and pointed the right way. But here we go into turn 2. Adam Barker made quite a move there, but could not make it stick. Now Zach Bache peeks to the inside as they go toward the hairpin. Barker looking to the inside on Garmin. Oh, that gets tight. They are side by side. Garmin has a straight line advantage, follows Sorensen through, but here he comes again, Barker. Oh, little contact. Barker is gonna clear. Zach looking for a move to the inside. Can't quite get there. Roman Berg still in the lead. Mike Marshall in second. Sorensen still has third. Barker now into fourth. Garmy in fifth. Zach Bache in sixth. Avery in seventh. Robert Joe in eighth. And they're just inches apart. Let's see if we can take a lap with our current points leader, Avery Walker, down into turn two, right on Zach's bumper. Right then left. Oh, Garmin's around. We'll take a look at that in a moment, and it looks like he may have caught Robert Joe. Down toward the hairpin, trying to get that run into the inside as we've got a battle just ahead. Avery Walker takes a position now into fifth place. Moose, how are you doing this morning? Track tightens up, left-hander. Robert Joe has had another problem. He has towed it in. Avery right on the bumper of Mike. And I just noted Mike Marshall, his wing says student driver on it. As we've got a battle going on just ahead, Roman Berg trying to hold on to second as Avery tries to take fifth or fourth from Mike Marshall. And Mike holds him off across the line and down into turn one. Let's take a look at the incidents a moment ago. There we saw Garmin coming through the turn. Zach right behind. Garmin gets on the power, snaps loose. Oh, and Robert Joe looking down from the blimp. Robert Joe looked so fast in race one. Ouch! Slams into Garmin. Garmin has gone to pit road as well. Meanwhile, Nick Sorensen out front just set the fastest lap so far. Folks, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We have been releasing a lot of YouTube shorts this week and a lot more to come. Sorensen now has a 2.5 second lead over Adam Barker. Roman Berg in third, Mike Marshall in fourth, Zach Bache in fifth, Avery in sixth, and Garmin back in seventh. Robert Joe out of the race. Nick Sorensen definitely taking advantage of clean air as he tries to run away. Mike Marshall, Zach Bache, and Avery Walker battling it out for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Zach has the run. Avery now to the inside as they head toward the hairpin. Braking as late as possible into the hairpin. Marshall on the power out of the turn, tries to get back to the outside, but couldn't get there. Avery now to sixth, Zach up to fifth. And Roman Berg just ahead in third. Zach may have a run. Roman took one of the turns a little wide, opened the door, Zach walked in. Avery's going to take advantage of the open door as well. Avery tries to set up to the outside of Zach. Still side by side into the final 2 turns. Avery to the inside, but Zach powers out. What a battle. Zach now to 3rd. Nick Sorensen still has a 2.7 second lead over Adam Barker. Adam currently 2 spots ahead of Avery Walker. Remember, Avery did extend his points lead a little bit after race 1 over 7-time champ Adam Barker. Hey, good morning, Cyper. Well, glad you got a better night's sleep, buddy. Sorensen now has a 2-second lead over Adam, but more importantly to Adam, Avery Walker now to 3rd. Avery now has some clean air ahead. He can try and run down. Avery about 4.3 seconds back in 3rd behind 7-time champ Adam Barker. And if they finish as they run right now, once again, like we saw last week, really it comes out to almost a tie in the points. They would go into the final race next week just 3 points apart. You know Avery Walker is hungry. He wants that championship. Adam Barker, a 7-time champ, looking for his 8th. Meanwhile, Nick Sorensen in the Acura just flying around the track. Sorensen continues to extend that lead, now over almost 3 seconds over Adam Barker. Avery Walker back in 3rd, just 4 seconds behind Barker, and he is closing in. Zach Bache holds on to 5th after that epic battle earlier. Roman Berg in 6th as Mike Marshall on the bumper. Marshall goes to the attack. The Porsche has the advantage in the turn, but that Mustang definitely has the straight line speed and powers out. Mike Marshall now into 5th. Gorman, after that early setback and a trip to pit road, now way back in 6th, hoping for a little chaos ahead to put him back in the fight. Adam Barker continuing to lose ground on the leader. And the last 2 laps, Avery Walker has been the fastest car on track. Can Avery run down second place Adam Barker and get ahead of him? He's got to be hoping pit strategy goes perfectly for him as well. Worth reminding everybody that coming into this season, they shook things up. There is now a pro and amateur division. And while Avery Walker leads the pro division, at the moment, Mike Marshall is leading the amateur division. Second place in the amateur is Roman Berg, who is right behind him on track. Avery has pulled out a 1.9 second gap now on Zach Beisch. Mike Marshall back in 5th, Roman Berg in 6th. David Garman in 7th, quite a ways behind, but he is gaining on both Roman and Mike Marshall. Oh! Garman went a little too wide that time. At the moment, Garman 2 seconds a lap faster than Roman and Mike Marshall before that incident. Looking down at Garmin from the blimp, this happens in this turn all the time. It is so easy, just 1% too much, and you are way off in the sand. A great job by Garmin, though, getting it recovered. Something has gone wrong for Garmin. That was obviously not how you hit your pit stall. See if we can see what happened to Garmin here. He hits pit road, gets on the speed limiter, so he doesn't get a penalty. Oh, he was taking it to the garage. Nick Sorensen's lead about 2.5 seconds. Barker has gained a little ground. Avery continues to close in, 3.7 seconds behind. He's pulled a 3.9 second gap on Zach. Mike Marshall in 5th, Roman Berg back in 6th. Sorensen definitely had a rough first race this morning, but he charged through the field very early on to take the lead, has not looked back, and continues to pull away. Adam Barker is trying to stop that charge. He is 2.4 seconds back now. He is gaining a little bit of ground, and he really needs the speed because Avery Walker in 3rd is inching closer now, 3.5 seconds back. Mike Marshall is closing in on Zach Beisch. Mike back in 5th, 5.25 seconds behind Zach, but he is also inching closer and closer. Zach got his first podium finish in the league this morning. You know he wants to get back up there. Adam Barker has gained a lot of ground on Sorensen. He's now just 1.4 seconds back. Avery Walker in third, still about 3.5 seconds back. He is, though, consistently faster than the top two, if just by a few hundredths of a second, but he is gaining every single lap. Quack, how are you, buddy? Whoa! Avery a little bit wide out of the final turn. I'm doing great, Quack. Despite that off track, Avery still gained some ground. He is now just 3.25 seconds behind Adam. Dazzy, what are you up to today, buddy? Nick Sorensen out front, but his gap, his lead is gone. Adam Barker 1.1 seconds back and closing. Avery Walker just 3.4 seconds back and closing. Sorensen definitely needs to step up the pace. Zach Bache is now about 7.5 seconds back in fourth, but he has pulled away from Mike Marshall a little bit more. Roman Berg is apparently retired from the race, as has David Gorman. Robert Joe, David Gorman, and Roman Berg out early. Definitely a bumpy start for some of them. Let's see what happened to Roman a moment ago. There's Roman back behind in the white Porsche, sending it to into the final sector, off into the sand. He does manage to save it. Great recovery by Roman. And keeps it pointed the right way. Adam Barker in second, now 0.8 of a second behind the leader. They have put a little bit of space on Avery. He's now 3.5 seconds back. But the moment these two get side by side, Avery is going to catch him, and Adam Barker just set the fastest lap, 1:38.59. Those top three lap times have and continue to be extremely close. Avery back in third, just needs a little bit of a battle from the top two, and he will be back in the fight for the win as well. Pit stops will be coming up any time as we reach the halfway point, and I'm sure a lot of these drivers are ready for a fresh set of tires. As we heard between races, the tires would be screaming by the time they got to pit road. Nick Sorensen's sudden dramatic drop in time, maybe due to the tires being too hot. Adam Barker still about 1.25 seconds back. He gains a little and then loses a little. Same for Avery Walker, 3.5 seconds back. And if they were to finish as they are running right now between Adam in second, Avery in third, next week, the final race of the season, Avery would come into it with a lead of 1 point. Motegi is definitely going to be an interesting battle next week. A 1 point deficit going into the final race of the season. Avery definitely needs some fresh tires to close the gap ahead to get him back into the lead fight. He does not need Barker to take the win here. Barker starting to inch closer. Avery inching closer as well. Zach Beige still back in fourth. Mike Marshall in fifth. Was gaining on Zach, but has lost some ground now. Apparently the Mustangs are doing Mustang things today. Adam Barker still lurking in second, is not gaining any ground. He fluctuates between a second and 1 1/4. Avery Walker back in third, fluctuates between 3 1/4 and 3.5 seconds back. He is going to hope to make up a lot of ground on pit road. Sorensen just trying to hold him off. It's interesting. I believe this is the first time we have seen multiple Acuras in the top 3. Nick Sorensen has run the Acura most of the season. He did 2 races in the McLaren, and last week at Mount Panorama, weirdly, was in the Mercedes. Avery in third has cranked up the throttle. He is now just 3 seconds behind Barker and closing. Nobody has been to pit road yet, and Sorensen just set the fastest lap. Beating Adam Barker's lap by 1/100th of a second as Zach Bache is on pit road. The car does not go up, it's fuel only. That is a shock. Avery continuing to chip away at the gap on Adam Barker. He's now 2.7 seconds back. Avery continuing to chip away, getting closer and closer to Adam. Adam just 1 second behind Sorensen. Sorensen's coming to pit road. Adam is staying out and Avery is staying out. Mike Marshall now in fourth. Zach is back off pit road in fifth. And does appear Sorensen is getting tires. Adam Barker out front, Avery Walker in second, now just 2 1/4 seconds back. Avery is closing on Barker rapidly. I'm guessing Barker's tires might be gone. Barker's lead getting smaller and smaller every turn. Oh, Adam went a little bit wide as he goes through the S's. Now Avery 1.5 seconds back. Barker is in. Avery is in. We've seen some drivers fuel only. Some drivers took tires. What's it going to be for these two? This could be a defining moment. Adam is up. He'll get fresh tires. Avery does not. Mike Marshall now brings his Mustang to pit road as Nick Sorensen flies by. Adam Barker back off pit road, as is Avery. Sorensen back in third. And Adam Barker has the lead for the moment. Can Avery continue to reel Barker in despite not having fresh rubber on the car? Avery just 1.6 seconds back. Sorensen also on fresh rubber, about 4 seconds back, but closing rapidly. Zach Bache reclaims fourth. Mike Marshall has fifth. Avery continues to inch closer, now 1.3 seconds back. Nick Sorensen in third, closing in on the top two as well. Now just 3.7 seconds back from Avery. And Avery just 1.1 seconds behind the leader. Remember, this top two are not just battling for the win here today. They are battling for the championship, and coming into this morning, only 3 points separated them. Adam definitely trying to push that new rubber to its limit to put a gap on Avery. Right now, the gap holds at 1.1 seconds. Sorensen back in third, 3.5 seconds back and closing. Nick Sorensen set the fastest lap last time by 138.23, 3/10 faster than anybody else. Here's Sorensen back in third. He continues to march back toward the front. Definitely a sign these guys are still pushing the cars to the absolute limit when they're setting the fastest lap. Adam Barker still ahead. He's pulled a little bit of a gap on Avery, now 1.5 seconds. Sorensen just 3 seconds behind Avery and closing. Zach Bache appears to be locked into 4th if no mistakes. Mike Marshall in 5th. Hey Nishi, how are you? Nick Sorensen continuing to gain on the top 2, now 2.8 seconds back. Adam Barker's lead starts to shrink again. Avery 1.4. 12.5 minutes left to go. All 3 drivers, gaps are closing. Adams' lead now about 1.7 seconds over Avery. Sorensen now just 2.6 seconds back. This thing is really starting to tighten up. Adam is opening a little bit of a gap, but it does appear Avery has some parts of the track where he has an advantage. Obviously the Porsche, the best handling of the field. Walker does seem to be taking advantage of it. Adams' lead holding at 1.5 seconds. Sorensen now 2.9 seconds back. Did Nick use up his tires trying to reel him in, or is he just trying to get him to cool down for a lap? Sorensen has had one heck of a charge since pit stops. But does the car have enough left in it to get up and battle for position? Adams' lead holds about 1.4, 1.5. Avery in second, not gaining any ground that time by. Nick Sorensen back on the attack. Holy cow, a little bit wide, but Nick is back on the attack. That off track does appear to have cost him a little bit. And Avery just set his fastest lap of the day. And he is gaining on the leader. Nine minutes left to go, and the field, as we mentioned, this top 3 is tightening back up. Will we end up with a close battle for the win? You know, Avery Walker in second place is doing everything he can to close that gap. Adam Barker back up in the lead, looking for his 8th championship next week. Sorensen back in 3rd, appears to be back moving forward. At the line, Sorensen about 2.9 seconds behind 2nd place, Avery Walker. Barker is maintaining that 1.5 second lead over Avery. Avery gains a little here and there, loses a little here and there. He was making significant headway for a couple laps, but looks like he has lost a little ground and not gaining anything at the moment. Meanwhile, 3rd place Nick Sorensen has lost some ground. He is now 3.5 seconds behind Avery. Zach Beige, after a podium finish in race 1, currently running in 4th. And Mike Marshall has been on it all morning, currently runs in 5th. And out of the hairpin, that time Avery gained a lot. Avery definitely pushing once again. The gap now 1.1 and closing. Nick Sorensen back in 3rd, now 3.6 seconds back. He is unlikely to make it back to the front and fight for the win. Less than 5 minutes to go, only a couple more laps. Nick Sorensen lost a little more ground, now 3.7 seconds back. Avery is getting closer, the gap now under a second. If Avery can get into the slipstream of Adams' Acura, that could be catastrophic for Barker. Out of the hairpin, Avery just 3/4 of a second back. He might even be picking up a little bit of the slipstream this time. Worth reminding everybody that, hey, Adam took tires. Avery in the Porsche did not. Also, don't forget to come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern, the BRR Cup Series up first, followed by the SMR X Series. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We have got a lot of funny and exciting YouTube shorts out there. Avery is within striking distance. Adam still has the lead, but not by much. Avery is close enough to be picking up his slipstream. Not only is this the battle for the win, it is the championship battle. Avery does not make the move in the hairpin. They are likely to get the white flag next time by, which means Avery is going to have to make a move soon. And Adam Barker is going to have to pull a Mike Dolling and drive like the Minister of Defense. Here they come through the final sector. Barney waves the white flag one more time around Hockenheim. Who will it be? .84 miles, just 16 turns. Adam leads him down toward the hairpin. Will this be? Yes, Avery's gonna. No, maybe. He's thinking about it. Adam slams the door. Was Avery's best shot just giving up? He's definitely carrying all the momentum he can. He's right back to the bumper. Down into the final few turns. If anybody ends up in the sand, it could be over. Avery right on the limit. Barker just has to make sure he keeps it on track. Avery almost got to the inside. Through the final few turns, Avery, nothing left in the Porsche. Adam Barker will win at Hockenheim. Avery Walker comes home a very close second. Nick Sorensen in third. And let's talk to our top three, starting with Nick. Nick, you gave it one heck of an effort. You were gaining a lot on him for a while.
Yeah, I was there. First race there, I just made a mistake. So put myself behind the 8 ball. And then in the second race, I had some good pace there with the lead. But on my pit stop, I ended up taking 4 tires instead of 2. So that let those 2 guys get ahead. And I was trying to catch for a track that I'm not particularly fond of or good at. Coming in third there is really good.
Well, it was a great run, a great charge back despite the mistake. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.
Avery Walker comes home in second. Avery, how much more time did you need?
I want to say one more lap. Yeah, that was really close. I pretty much knew anything I was going to do on that last lap was going to be desperate, and I, of course, didn't want to take out Adam. But I think if I had another lap to get a shot at it, I could have done something.
We saw you peeking out, looking as you went toward the hairpin, but just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, I knew. I was thinking about it, and I probably should have gone for it, but I knew, like, with how far back I was, that would have been really desperate. So wanted to keep it clean and fair.
Well, still a great finish. The points tighten up even more. It's going to be fun next week. Congrats.
Thank you. I think it's going to be 1 point separating us next week.
That was my math, too. So 1 point going into next week. It's going to get fun.
Yep. All right.
And finally, our winner, Adam Barker. Adam, you did everything right today, and now you go into next week just 1 point in the championship, separating it.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. Really intense start there. I got a good jump on Avery towards the start, which is what I needed, and then just hunting Nick down for the first part, and then try to run away with it at the end. I had a nice gap, so I didn't have to push the car too hard. I knew even if Avery got to the back of me that it'd be hard for him to get round. So just keeping the car under control and bringing it home for the win.
Well, man, another great race, but now it comes down to the final week next week at
Mategi, yeah.
Yeah, so, coming down to Mategi and a 1 point difference. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it can't get any closer, can it? So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to really work on getting the lines and having a good showdown for the last race.
Definitely looking forward to that, man. Congratulations, great win.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Folks, we've got more racing tonight, but how excited are you for next week at Motegi? Man, that's going to be awesome. I am personally very excited for that. I like Motegi and always some great racing there, so we're definitely going to have some fun next Sunday. Don't forget to come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern, the BRR Cup Series, followed by the SMRX Series. A ton of great racing to come tonight. We'll see everybody then. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. Go watch some YouTube shorts. We posted some from Sniper Elite, trucking, some other funny stuff. Go check them out. We'll see you guys tonight. Have a great one, everybody.